According to UNICEF, every child has the right to learn. When a child has the opportunity to learn, it puts them on the road to reaching their full potential. The chance to lead healthier lives, break the cycle of poverty, and lift up their families and communities. They have a chance to change the world. But we are facing a global learning crisis. While more learners are enrolled in educational institutions more than ever before, hundreds of millions of learners are not learning and developing skills. As COVID-19 continues to disrupt educational systems, institutions have been quieter than libraries. Classroom and playgrounds are empty, and online learning has been thrust forward on a scale never seen before.
When the government announced that schools will be closed and online classes will continue, I was very sad and unhappy about it. But we need to be safe and life must go on. Therefore, our learning has to go on. I need to have a positive attitude and learn to adjust with this present situation.
Uh, Online classes for me for the first time was not so surprising because I thought that it's a good initiative taken up by the government to learn online, because as a student I feel like than to just sit at home without doing anything, it's better to learn something.
Although with the growth of technology, providing online learning means we can deliver learning opportunities anywhere, anytime. But more than half of our state's learners are on the wrong side of the digital divide, limiting access to the same opportunities as their connected peers.
Most of us had so much problems, and we are still having actually. Our classes starts from 8:30 in the morning to 12:30, and sometimes it was not possible to send the work on time because of the poor internet connection. And I think it is not fair because I have relatives who stay in the village and who studies there. Staying and studying this side, we are having online classes and we're moving on so much ahead. We are in the same class, but we are moving on because we have online classes, whereas they do not have online nor offline classes. So I think it is not fair because we are following the same board, the same syllabus, but we are moving on ahead of them. So I think that is totally unfair.
Challenges abound for stay-at-home learners. There are many learners who still cannot operate basic computers with MS Word and PowerPoint. And whenever some technical issues emerge, they find it difficult to solve the problem in such a scenario.
Because we live in a day and age where technology is the new normal, and especially now during the pandemic, we are forced to communicate and to do our work through technology. I don't think there is a large majority of students who don't really know how to use a computer, and I feel like if they don't, the school should take responsibility by before starting online classes, teach them how to use certain apps if they're using, teach them how to the basic PowerPoint, how to create a document, PDF, and that will truly help a student in his work as days goes on. And by the end of this pandemic, the student would surely know what to do.
Computer knowledge is a must in today's time. Without computer knowledge, it's like you can read but you can't write, or you don't know how to write. Government have to work on it so that every individual should get proper or basic computer knowledge, like how is it in European countries. Now in our present situation, for those who are well aware of the digital or computer knowledge, they don't face any problems. But for those who are illiterate of computer knowledge, they are now helpless. It is very much high time to know and learn about computer. Today's world, it's a computer world, a digital life, so we have to learn and know very well to fulfill our needs.
Good morning, girls. Today's class we will learn about the types of computers. Alright, so based on their size and their power, computers are classified into 4 types. They are microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe computer and supercomputer. So these are the 4 types of computers.
It is better if we have classes in school because we can ask the questions to the teacher face to face and she will explain it to us in more details and explain it to us until we understand. But due to this COVID and lockdown, we can't go to school, so we have no other option other than online classes.
Unlike in schools, learning from home is a totally different experience. Having a quiet, comfortable environment, especially for learners who generally have short attention span, is vital, but a privilege not available to all.
We attended class from home, so there are a lot of noise and distraction occurred when it comes to online classes and which lead to lack of focus.
So we are a family of 3. We live in a rented house and it is merely impossible to own my separate room. But I have managed to create a small study workplace of mine which is undisturbed, and this is possible because my parents doesn't bother what I'm doing there and they cooperate a lot.
Also, the novelty of being connected online can distract learners by prompting them to access other websites while attending their classes.
I did have a lot of distractions while doing my online classes. And yes, sometimes I would, by mistake open an app and get lost in social media. But the one thing which I'm practicing now and which I feel every student should be practicing is having self-control. That means, during that time where you get your work, to mute all your notifications, log out from your social media account, and just concentrate on the work that has been given for that time.
Talking about sports, arts, and craft, these 2 subjects were my most favorite subjects. And even though 11-12 didn't really have SCPW, up till class 10, I had really enjoyed them. And talking about how important they are to me, they are very important to me because art is something that I really like to do, and physical education is one thing that I really love. We were actually looking forward to having our annual sports district last year, and we all, as in the school team, we all were so excited. We had actually planned for our practice until we got a notice that there would be a lockdown and all schools would be shut. And it was quite disappointing because we were really looking forward to it, and it was my last year. It was actually my last year as we had the sports in school level, inter-school level is just up to age 18, and I'm 18 right now. So it was my last year and I had missed my chance last year, and it was really disappointing because sports really meant something to me. And yeah, I was really looking forward to it, but COVID happened.
I go to a school which emphasizes extracurricular activities a lot, and it does feel super weird not having the experience that we've seen our seniors have in the 9th and 10th grade, since we've been little kids, and many of us do not love academics as much as we love co-curricular activities like sports and art and singing and acting and just other forms of expression. And to not have that anymore does feel pretty strange. But last year, amidst lockdown, we tried incorporating the activities we have every year online, and it worked out pretty well for the first time. So I don't see any reason why we can't do it again, and perhaps a tad better this time.
As the pandemic continues to have a huge impact on our daily routines, some students shared with us how the virus has impacted their daily lives. Some of the students recorded themselves on the cell phones to share COVID 19's impact on them.
When talking about online education, there's no sugarcoating it, it's tough. Experiencing it firsthand, I could tell you about the transition from this professional college setting to a virtual world where everyone's communicating through a screen. Initially, everyone was pretty happy about this because the thought of doing work from the comfort of a home seems appealing. But here's the ground reality. Number one, it doesn't do much for our health. For instance, this is where I sit from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on a typical weekday. So having minimal physical activity naturally takes a toll on the body. It's not easy on the eyes because you're staring at a screen all day. And mentally, it's not doing much for us either. Which brings me to my second point. Having people around you matters. And for various reasons. For instance, if we take a typical classroom setting, there's this natural sense of healthy competition that exists among students, which I feel gets diminished in a virtual setting. Mostly because you don't know what the other person is doing on the other side of the screen. So that sense of motivation and drive that comes along with having people around you, that does not really apply when there's a screen separating you from others. And then there's the whole issue of understanding what's being taught during these online classes. We understand that educators are trying their best with whatever resources they have right now. And to a certain extent, it is working, but there's certain subjects, topics, concepts that cannot be taught online. So that's where grasping the material becomes an issue. And God forbid there's a power cut mid-class. That's my third point, internet issues. The stress which comes with having poor internet connectivity is real. And there's a major fraction of students who live in areas where there's slow internet connectivity or there's no reception. It's not their fault for living in these areas. So the extra burden that comes upon them for catching up with classes, it's naturally not justified. And then there's the whole issue of the sense of exclusion that they feel from whatever activities are going on in class. I feel that defeats the entire purpose of having online education. So even though with the times, with the difficult times that are going on right now, this seems like the best option that we have, the safest option that we have right now. And there are a lot of benefits to online education. But the negative impact that it has on students cannot be ignored. And these are my views.
If we had offline classes, the teachers will be there explaining. If we had any problem, we'll ask them, we'll clarify our doubts, we will have class discussions, debates, tests, thinking questions, and then the teachers will not leave us till we understand a certain topic or a certain subject. But in online classes now, the teachers will be sending us work. Some will do, some will not. Teachers will send us video and then we'll be listening to it. And sometimes if we don't understand, it just leaves there. And it's very difficult to understand major subjects like science and maths through videos or through explanations like that. Because it is better if we interact, and sometimes it is in online classes is so much better because so many ideas are coming from so many students, and from there we are able to learn so much, and online classes is very difficult to do so.
There were at times in school when we used to have these small group works that teachers used to give us in between class in a fun way of learning, which was impossible to have through online. And it was kind of fun when we had those little quizzes or little games that the teachers used to bring in between. And yeah, that's what I miss about traditional learning. And also the interaction, face to face interaction between a teacher and a student. It actually helps us concentrate more when you're face to face interacting with this teacher. Through online, it's not that possible. We had classes through WhatsApp, which was easy for us to learn, but the concentration level and motivation to even concentrate in class was kind of lacking in that category. So,
As a student, obviously the pressure is quite a lot. And I'm in the 10th grade and I will need to appear for my board exams, which is very nerve wracking in itself. On one hand, I do want to work hard and do well, whereas on the other, it's hard at a time like this to study when you could be doing bazillion other things besides studying. Um, it also seems kind of mundane to worry about studies when lives are at stake and you see the virus count increasing and increasing and refusing to come down. And really, so many small factors constitute to this difficulty of being a student at a time of a pandemic. But I also believe that if we just take it a little easy and cut ourselves some slack, we'll be doing a favor to both ourselves, our academics, and our mental health.
Now I'm home, I'm more engaged into my personal and family life and has more role to play. It is difficult to balance the work from college and home.
In these unusual times, active cooperation and involvement of parents in their children's education needs to be appreciated. Parents hastily transformed rooms in their homes to classrooms and offices. They are doing the best they can to manage a situation that remains uncertain and disruptive because they want their children to succeed during remote learning.
My mom, who has been working as a daily wages, we are facing a lot of problems, but still I have my relative and my father who support me. So I'm grateful.
Online class is a new concept for all of us during tough times of lockdown and COVID-19 widespread. Our children are being pushed into this new world of learning as learning has to continue, for this is now our only choice. In my opinion, it's a much better situation for the student because by the time the student enters college community, they're already independent as online classes allows you to be more independent.
According to me, online classes are doing good and children are able to continue with their studies. That's what matters.
According to a Learning Heroes survey, parents estimate that they spend an average of 2.5 hours each day helping their children with schoolwork. But this can vary based on the number and ages of children.
ईश्वर हमको देना सीख मिलजुल कर हम सदा रहे एक दूसरे का काम करे good good okay
Tiara?
now Raj
Tiara, do you like online class or do you want to go to school?
I want to go to school.
Now, being a parent, as well as having a job of my own, I face a lot of pressure and stress with the coming of online classes. I have to dedicate a large amount of time to my children, and there are sacrifices that have to be made. I feel that with online classes, we tend to get carried away with the amount of work we give our children, and it results in the students having so much more to do online as compared to the work they had during offline classes.
Drastic changes have stressed parents already, wary about health and financial security. The disruption in routine that the switch to online learning has caused can be a lot for a learner to handle. The big question parents are asking is what is the psychological impact of online education on their children?
Students spend most of their time on the computer or on the phone the whole time, looking at the studies, making sure the classes they attended the classes, making sure their courses are met, making sure they know they're present for the classes. And this has also disrupted physically on the students' health when it comes to sleeping habits, where sleeping patterns have become very difficult. They have to get up early. Sometimes they have to sleep late night because of sudden assignments that they have to do, or they have to keep up with the time where the teachers have asked them to be online any time of the day they are required. So they just have to be prepared. So they have to wake up. They have to be they have to wait and see, and they have to be ready at all times. And then also at the same time, we're looking at eating habits is also being affected, because by the time they attend online classes, they are not able to eat properly. They are not able to function at the time where they are supposed to have their food taken at the correct time. Where these classes requires them to be attending these classes at all time. So food habits of young people have also disrupted, and most parents are anxious that their children are not eating well, because they have to attend classes probably sometimes the whole day or for many hours, lengthy hours at time. So this also gives rise to mental stress among students, where they're not able to concentrate. Their mental ability to think becomes very chaotic, because they are in a rush most of the time to attend these classes. They are in a rush most of the time to finish the assignments, and they have no time to go out. They have no time to take rest, or they have no time to be with their friends and social interaction with their friends, so that they're sometimes able to take a break, but that they're able to do that. So in this way, daytime fatigue result it comes out, and students are not able to handle such pressures. So in this case, anxiety, emotional well-being of the student becomes disrupted.
The educational system needs to be strengthened to bring about scalable and sustainable innovation to ensure that learning takes place in new ways and places within and outside the classroom. The challenge ahead is big, but so is the opportunity. By working collectively and innovatively, we can ensure a future in which every learner learns.
My name is Asapita Dasuti. I am 4 years old. I am in class LPG. I will sing very